Hey guys, it's Brent here. It's been a while since my last video on my bike. So this is the Trek Domane AL2 Gen 4. And if you did not see my previous video of my bike, I went over some of the minor upgrades that I did. And I did mention the future upgrades that I would do, which was to get new tires, Powermeter pedals, and bike computer. Which, spoiler alert, I did get all those three. I'm gonna talk about the upgrades that I did and my thoughts on it, as well as what I'm planning on doing with this bike next, as well as some of my fitness goals that I think you may be interested in. So yeah, let's get started. One of the biggest upgrades that I would say I did is the GP 5000 tires. So if you guys aren't following me already, I did make a quick short of my experience putting on these new tires, and holy, that was a mission. This is a pretty big drop from going to stock 32mm tires all the way down to 28mm racing tires. I did not see a huge increase in performance by switching over to these. I would say the feel of these new tires are very similar. You can feel the bumps. It's not as comfortable as wider tires, I would say. I did read somewhere that these are sturdy enough to not get punctured so easily. It's been a good feel for my ride, and I do feel myself getting a little bit faster and saving some energy. These ran me around $180 USD for both tires. Overall, I think it's a great purchase. I feel like I should have gotten it sooner, but this is the most recent purchase that I made. And I also got the bike computer, the Garmin 840, and this was gifted from my friends for my birthday, so thanks to them. They initially wanted me to get the bigger size Garmin, the 1080 or 1040. However, I opted in for the compact, the 840 version, because I liked the minimalist, smaller look to it, and it just fits well with the rest of my bike, in my opinion. I just didn't want something too long or chunky, like as big as my iPhone, to be on the front of my bike. And it does the job. I also got the Powermeter pedals, the Favero Esioma Pros. These are the latest version where it has the red ring on the ends. The reason why I got this is not only because it's cheaper than the other Garmin Powermeter pedals I was eyeing, but also it's super light. These weigh only about 128 grams each. And that's the same weight as my previous Ultegra pedals. It's crazy that it's a Powermeter pedal, but weighs the same as a non-Powermeter pedal. So that's the reason why I got it. It was a huge investment, but if you're wanting to improve in your fitness and get faster over time, it's good to know your watts and your watts per kilogram and your FTP, just to use as a benchmark so you can improve over time and see what training works best for you. And being able to see the watts live on your bike computer has been nice. Previously, I've only been able to figure out my effort based off my Apple Watch when I first started biking, and it was only based off speed and a little bit of heart rate. But at the time, I only had an Apple Watch with no other measuring device, so that's the only thing I can really depend on. But now that I have Powermeter pedals, a bike computer, as well as a heart rate monitor, I'm able to look a lot at the data. I'm a numbers guy, and it's something nice to see me improving over time, being able to understand what my previous performance was and what my current performance is now, and comparing the two and see if I made an improvement or not. So if you're a numbers guy, I definitely recommend getting the Powermeter pedals as well as the bike computer. And maybe if you're into the zones, heart rate zones, definitely a heart rate monitor is beneficial compared to just a watch, even though the watch could also measure heart rate, because when you're riding, you have a lot of vibrations going on, so that may throw off the heart rate sensor. And so heart rate monitors are more accurate in that case when it comes to cycling. Another upgrade that I did was I made a switch from the previous old bike light that I had. The previous bike light was more manual, and I got that from Amazon, but now I have the Garmin radar light. This was also gifted by a friend, so thanks to him if you're watching. The cool thing about this light is that when cars are coming closer, the light flashes more and more. It's just to give more awareness to the driver. But also it connects to my bike computer, and you get a visual of cars coming towards you and how fast they're coming towards you. So it's really cool how both the light and the bike computer kind of links together. But the only downside I would say is it's obviously a bit heavier than the previous manual bike light that I had. And also you kind of have to charge this pretty often. I think this would last me around like 2 to 3 long bike rides. But then again, at this point in 2026, there's going to be a lot of electronic add-ons or attachments that you can make to your bike. For example, the power meters, your bike light, your bike computer, and if you have an electronic group set as well, you're going to have to charge that too. So as I mentioned before in my previous video, this bike stock comes in around $1,100 US. And the upgrades that I've done to it so far hasn't been too costly because I would not dare to purchase a part or an upgrade or an accessory to my bike that costs more than the bike itself. It just would not make sense to me. And a lot of these components are components that I can swap out to a new bike if I were to get a new one. Even if it's super costly, like the Powermeter Pedals that go for $750 US, I can easily take that off and switch it to a new bike. I do want to compete in probably a crit race in the near future, definitely this year. But I am training for a marathon and a half marathon this year, so that's going to be my priority right now. But I'm still biking, at least like once or twice a week, just because I enjoy biking and I want to make sure that I am improving in my cycling fitness, or at least maintaining it while I train for my marathons. After maybe a year or two, or maybe a couple thousand miles, I may consider building my own bike. If I do start racing and I enjoy it and want to do it more, then I might consider getting a frame that's more of a race geometry, an aluminum frame like the Specialized Alley Sprint, because crit races, you may end up crashing your bike, and I'm not willing to spend thousands of dollars on a carbon frame and risk snapping that in half. So maybe like a Specialized Alley Sprint would be my next bike. I would definitely get carbon wheels, SRAM Force or the Ultegra Di2, use these Favero Sioma Powermeter pedals, and get a shorter crank size. I think currently it comes in 175 millimeters, which I can use fine, but then I want to test out shorter cranks, so maybe I'm gonna get a 170 millimeter crank for my next bike, get a new saddle, the cockpit. I may consider going more narrow. It's currently at 40 centimeters wide, but I may want to go a bit more narrow, like 380 millimeters, with the drop bars being a little bit wider. I'm gonna ride this out a little bit more, improve my fitness, complete those marathons this year, while also trying out some crit races with this bike. And that's it. This is all the upgrades that I have done to my entry-level Trek Domane AL2 Gen 4, and this is probably all the upgrades that I would do to this bike until I get a new one. So if you guys liked the video, please leave a like and drop a comment if you guys have any questions regarding this bike and what other content you want to see, and consider subscribing if you haven't yet. I'm going to be putting out more videos on my YouTube channel to go over, my running, cycling, and also racing journey. And if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned and follow along the journey. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.